You know, it is a truly terrifying thought when you really stop to consider it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, I mean, you could spend years, literally years, developing a truly standout product. You pour your heart, your soul, your life savings into the design, the prototypes, the manufacturing runs.
And all those late night panic sessions.
Right, the panic sessions. And then you finally have this perfect, beautiful, tangible thing ready for the world. But if you get one specific number wrong at launch, the price tag, it can all just completely fall apart.
It happens far more often than anyone in the retail industry likes to admit, honestly. The tragedy is that setting the right price isn't just about, making sure you earn money.
Right, it's deeper than that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Price is a language. It's often the very first thing communicating your value to a potential buyer. It dictates exactly how you position your brand against everyone else who is fighting for that same customer's attention.
And that is exactly what we are getting into today. Welcome to this deep dive into the incredibly high-stakes, surprisingly psychological world of product pricing.
It's a big one.
It really is. So for you listening, whether you are an entrepreneur gearing up to launch a business or you just want to know why that insulated water bottle you bought somehow costs $45, we are pulling back the curtain today.
We're looking at the math and the mind games.
Yes, the mind games. And to do this, we are leaning heavily into an expert guide from Retailbound. Now, they're a premier retail channel management consultancy. They were founded back in 2008 by Johann Jacob, and they've helped brands launch in over 150 major retailers.
Which is a massive footprint.
Yeah.
They really know what they're talking about.
They really do. So our mission today is to uncover the exact formula for pricing a product for a successful retail launch, whether you're selling online direct to consumer or through distributors, or trying to get on the shelves of major retailers.
Okay, let's unpack this. Where do we even begin with a formula that carries that much weight?
Well, you have to start by looking in the mirror.
In the mirror. Yeah, because before anyone even thinks about looking outward at what customers might be willing to pay, you have to look inward at the brutal reality of your own operation.
Oh, I see.
You just cannot begin this process without establishing a baseline. We need to ground the price in internal math first.
Right. Okay. I always think of this like building a house.
That's a good way to look at it.
Like I can't just pick a listing price for a new house based on, good vibes
Mhm.
or what the neighbor's house sold for last week. Not if I don't actually know what pouring the foundation and buying all the bricks cost me in the first place.
Exactly. Step one is establishing what Retailbound calls your minimum viable price.
Minimum viable price. Got it.
This is the exact non-negotiable floor required to break even and generate a baseline profit. So it obviously includes your cost of goods, the raw materials, the packaging, manufacturing,
Tangible stuff.
right, plus labor. But where founders absolutely destroy their own businesses is by forgetting the hidden costs,
Oh,
the overhead.
okay. But is it really that common for entrepreneurs to just guess their prices and completely forget to factor in things like software or utilities? I mean, that feels like business 101.
What's fascinating here is how the human brain strongly biases toward the tangible and ignores the invisible.
Yeah.
Think about it. An entrepreneur can hold their physical product in their hand. They physically touch the plastic, the custom cardboard box. So they calculate the cost of those goods perfectly.
Because it's right in front of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they don't see the hours spent managing the accounting software or the electric bill or the cost of the digital marketing ad that brought the customer in.
Ah.
Those hidden costs secretly and aggressively eat away at profitability. If your minimum viable price doesn't cover the return processing fee or the shrinkage, stolen or damaged goods, you aren't running a profitable business. You're just personally subsidizing a very stressful hobby.
Wow. A stressful hobby. That is a brutal reality check.
It is,
Yeah.
but it's necessary. Without that baseline, the source strictly notes that you are simply guessing.
Okay, so you cure yourself of that blind spot. You calculate every single cent, visible and invisible, and you arrive at this minimum viable price.
Yes.
But knowing your internal math doesn't actually guarantee a single sale, right? Not if no one in the outside world is willing to pay that number. So we have to pivot from the internal math to the external market reality.
Precisely. Because you've only figured out what you need to charge to survive, now you have to figure out what the market will actually accept. And that means mapping out your customers and your direct competitors.
And mapping out customers means getting into the weeds of perceived value. It's not just asking people what they would pay, right?
No, because people are terrible at predicting their own spending habits.
Yeah, I definitely am. So it's digging into demographic income levels, doing surveys, and tracking competitor reviews to see what people are actually willing to pay for in that category.
You also have to evaluate the competitors rigorously. What are the typical price ranges out there? What is their market positioning? Are they the budget option, the luxury option?
You have to know who you are up against.
Right. And you have to know their strengths and weaknesses, which leads to a critical dynamic in the Retailbound guide. If you decide to price your product above the established competition, you absolutely must justify it with a unique value proposition, a UVP.
So a rock-solid reason for the premium tag.
Exactly. Superior quality, innovative functionality, standout design. Consumers are discerning. If they see two similar water bottles and yours is 40% more expensive, they instantly want to know why.
That makes total sense. But there's another side to this that really caught me off guard.
The underpricing.
Yes. Wait, so pricing lower isn't always a competitive advantage. Are you saying a low price can actually make your product look cheap and hurt your brand?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, human psychology relies heavily on heuristics, mental shortcuts. In the absence of deep technical knowledge, we use price as a direct shorthand for quality.
Oh, well.
So a strong UVP supports premium pricing, sure, but aggressively underpricing sends a dangerous psychological signal. Imagine launching a revolutionary new skincare serum. Every other premium serum is $80. You price yours at $12 to disrupt the market.
The customer doesn't think, wow, what a generous entrepreneur.
No, they think, what toxic chemicals are in this? Why is it so cheap? You undermine the perceived value of your own brand.
That is so counterintuitive. We always assume cheaper wins, but you're actually triggering suspicion.
Exactly. You risk profitability and brand perception all at once.
Okay, so you have your minimum viable price, you understand the psychological push and pull of the market and your UVP. So how do you actually pick the final number? The source lays out 3 distinct pricing strategies, right?
It does. The first is cost plus pricing. This is the oldest method. You take your total internal cost and just add a fixed markup percentage to it.
So it's a pure mathematical exercise. It's like playing it safe with a calculator.
Yes, simple and straightforward.
Then there's value-based pricing. That flips it entirely, right? Pricing based almost entirely on the perceived customer value.
Exactly. Ideal for innovative or premium products.
So that one is more like selling a feeling. You aren't buying a luxury watch for the gears, you're buying the status.
Right.
And the third option is competitor-based pricing. Setting your price strictly based on the competitive landscape. I imagine that's like blending into a school of fish so you don't get eaten.
That's a great way to put it. It's very helpful in highly crowded categories where you can't differentiate much.
But here's the thing. How does a brand know which of these 3 paths to commit to?
Your specific retail channel goals really dictate this choice. If you have a patented invention for direct-to-consumer, value-based pricing might be mandatory.
To capture that premium.
Right. But the guide cautions against relying solely on the simplicity of cost-plus pricing.
Why is that?
Because it doesn't always reflect market demand. If your calculator says $15, but customers would happily pay $25 based on your UVP, you just left $10 on the table.
Ah, yeah, that hurts. Okay, so let's say you've done all this hard work. You picked a strategy, you found a number, you are ready to conquer the retail shelves, right?
Not quite.
Because if you are selling through a major retailer, there is a massive hidden variable that completely alters the math. The hidden slices of the pie.
Retail margins.
Yes. And from the source material, they are not small slices.
No, they are not. Retail partners have very strict markup requirements. They often expect what the industry calls a keystone markup.
Which literally means they double the wholesale price.
Exactly. Or they expect margins of 50 to 70% depending on the category.
Hold on. Double the wholesale price.
Yes.
That means if my minimum viable price is high, by the time the retailer takes their keystone markup, the final shelf price could completely explode. How does a startup survive that?
This raises an important question about the reality of retail distribution. The shock you are feeling is exactly what entrepreneurs feel when they see those numbers. Your price must support a profitable wholesale price for you while maintaining a competitive shelf price for the retailer.
But why do they take so much?
You have to consider the immense value and cost of retailer shelf space.
Mm.
That margin pays for their national advertising, the physical real estate, the employees, the logistics.
Oh, so you are essentially paying for access to millions of customers.
Exactly. Which is why Retailbound emphasizes that negotiating strong relationships and terms with retail buyers is make or break for a brand. You can significantly improve these margins if you know how to negotiate.
Man, it really is a tightrope. So you negotiate, you survive the margins, you're on the shelf, job done.
Absolutely not. Pricing isn't a one-and-done decision.
Right, because the retail landscape shifts quickly.
Pricing is a living, breathing thing. You don't just carve numbers into stone.
It's more like tuning an instrument. You have to constantly adjust to keep things in perfect harmony.
That's a fantastic analogy. Brands must continuously test promotional pricing, track sales performance at different price points, and adjust based on trends and seasonality.
And there are some expert tips in the source on how to do this without lowering your base price. Here's where it gets really interesting. Bundling.
Yes, bundling or upselling.
So instead of dropping the price of your core product and looking cheap, you bundle it with something else to artificially raise the perceived value.
Exactly. You increase perceived value without changing the base product. You also need to track consumer behavior to anticipate shifts.
And the guide says to not undervalue your product as it gains traction.
Right. And above all, be transparent with customers to build trust and loyalty. Continuous price optimization is the only way to stay competitive and profitable long-term.
Which is why consulting pricing experts, like the ones at Retailbound Academy, is often necessary as the product scales. It's just too much for one person to manage. So what does this all mean? We've taken quite a journey today. For you listening, whether you are an entrepreneur gearing up for a major launch or just an insanely curious consumer wondering why the items in your shopping cart cost what they do, you now have the playbook.
We started with the harsh reality of internal costs, finding that minimum viable price.
Then we navigated the external market forces, competitors, and the power of a unique value proposition.
We selected a strategic model, avoiding the trap of purely cost-plus pricing.
We survived the brutal reality of retailer margins and there's massive keystone markups.
And we committed to continuous testing and evolution.
You now understand that every price tag is the result of an intense, ongoing negotiation of value.
But there's one final thought I want to leave you with, building on those last tips from the source.
Oh, what's that?
The guide specifically states that brands should be transparent with customers to build trust and loyalty. Right. While also advising them to constantly test promotional pricing and adjust based on trends.
Okay.
But in a world where prices fluctuate dynamically based on algorithmic testing and seasonality, how transparent can a brand actually be without causing customer outrage?
Oh, wow. I see what you mean.
If someone learns they paid a higher price yesterday than a new customer is paying today during a, quote, pricing test, doesn't that inherently destroy trust?
It absolutely would.
So how do modern brands balance the need for dynamic price optimization with the need for authentic transparency?
That is something to seriously mull over next time you see a price drop online. It's a delicate balance. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Next time you pick up a product off a retail shelf, I guarantee you'll be seeing the invisible math hiding right there on the price tag. Catch you next time.